little false start there. I forgot to unmute. I was saying it was muted. Jordan, who works with me, helps edit and stuff. He said, you need to start it off and introduce it. Say who you are and all that kind of stuff. That's the way it's been done. I said, I'll talk mid-sentence and mid-feeling or whatever it is. This podcast is really spontaneous. It's a journey. It's ever-changing, just like life is. I have different places that I go, that I share with you, discoveries, and also some of the pain and, yeah, some of the anger. People are commenting, you sound angry, depends who's listening. Yeah, and everybody has anger. Yeah, we all have it. I've been ashamed of it sometimes or been shamed for it. And I'm going to forgive myself for that. And we'll talk a little bit about forgiveness today. I'll set my intentions are to bring you up to speed on where I am in present moment. That's all we have. We just have now. I attend a Sunday Sangha, it's called. It's a mindfulness Sangha. It's been going on for about 4 or 5 years. And it's from Philadelphia, the leaders from Philadelphia. I mean, it talks about, in mindfulness, it's about being in the now. I actually have a watch, all it says is now on it instead of the time, because that's all we have. But he makes me laugh because I go with a Philly accent. Now. It's now. So anyway, we're going to talk about now. Now Craig is I'm in a really good place right now. Had some beautiful discoveries yesterday. The path took another road, like the Wizard of Oz. They go down this path and they come across a scarecrow. That's the mind. And then they go down another road, and they got these apple trees that are throwing apples at him. And suddenly they discover there's the Tin Man. He needs like a sponsor with an oil can, another guide. And then they come across the lion, and the lion is really me. Because he's got all this bravado. I have bravado sometimes. I mean, it's just where I come from, and whatever it is, about being a man. And that discovery of being a man I'm going to talk about that today as well. It's an interesting road. Where are the role models? I certainly didn't have one when my father left when I was born. He became a cult leader, ironically. Do I want anything that he became? No. Someone pointed out that my search when he left when I was born, my search was for the Father inside of me. And you're a part of that search. I'm finding that this podcast has different agendas, different pathways that it takes, like the Wizard of Oz. And the lion, he just comes across as this, put him up. And underneath, he's a dandelion, and I am too. I could never have said that before. Philadelphia, you're gay, fag, whatever it is. Oh, yeah, to get attacked. That's where I'm from. But I do think that there's my personal experiences. I think there's been too much of an adjustment of being so concerned with things like that, like calling names and shaming and all that stuff and bullying that they call it, that maybe it does call for some things like that and some disruptors. And I think that that's what this is about too, is there's a lot of disruption that's going on here for me in this process, and hopefully for you as well. I've been getting amazing. Thank you for I shouldn't call them amazing. They're just their emails that are coming in. I won't define as amazing, but they do hit my heart, especially when they're recognizing something within them that they relate to with me. And they're talking about courage that it takes and so forth. And I'm trying to keep my ego out of it. It's really not about that. But I do think that's a word that I think that we all need more courage. That's my experience. I don't want to play small. So what you have today, someone who wants to play big. And the way I want to play big is not big and tough. Put them up. No, it's more the dandelion. It's more the love, light, and levity. And I mean grand love. Love is at the base of what I do, by the way. Many of you maybe never heard of me or whatever. I did very, very well in stand-up. Very, very well in stand-up comedy. Way beyond where someone should be coming from where I come from. And people talk about the pain that I've been through. Yes, I've been through pain. This is really important. I don't want people to feel sorry for me. Thank you. I get it. And I have felt sorry for people that have been through circumstances like this and even worse or better or whatever it is. I'm not doing this for that. Appreciate it. Don't need rescuing. Some of this discovery, I actually would hope would rescue possibly someone who's in pain. Love and service. That's my major reason for living my life anyway and doing this podcast, love and service. There will be opinions on how it should be delivered. And what I say to them, when they analyze a joke I tell on stage or whatever, is like, okay, go do that. Do that for yourself. I value people's experience much more than their opinion anyway. This is one of the problems I've had with wellness grifters and the personal coaches who aren't really qualified. They're not qualified because they haven't experienced, not because they haven't studied or something. They don't have experience to share. There's no recovery to their process. There's no answers and solutions that are scalable, sustainable, that have worked for a while. I'm going to listen to the people, for instance, relationship, they've been married a long time. They worked some things out. I want what they have. So I want, this is definitely yesterday, it was really confirmed. I just want grand love, God, divine love. I don't want to do things based on your judgment. When I was in this deep state of consciousness, unconsciousness yesterday, and was doing this process, something came up to me is like, let your mother's voice go, let your mother's voice go. And the other thing that came up was, oh my God, my relationship with my mom is something I should share with people because that's what I'm going to have with everyone, including my ex-wife. I don't know if I've shared this before. I don't write the stuff down, but she and I had a very difficult time for many years. Definitely, I thought this about her, and then I would find evidence to gather about her, and she's not a good mom, and all this kind of stuff. And other people would agree with me, oh, that's a terrible mom, and all that kind of stuff. And one day, I'm not going to tell the story again because I think I told it before, but the bottom line on the story is I got into this place of really big God love and radical acceptance was what God told me. And if you have a problem with God, I get it. I used to. Replace the word with higher consciousness, higher power, soul force, the force from Star Wars. That's what that movie's about. That's why I love it so much. It's mythical. It's really about the force of God, the force of good, the force of light, call it love, light, levity, whatever you want to call it. Something that says that this exists inside of you, this great potency that wishes to be released, this great love potency, it wishes to be released, but we are taught to put it down. Me saying the word God, if somebody wants to put that down, that's your other side of you, that dark side that doesn't want to really, really feel this unbelievable life that we have. And I've had this longing my entire life, but I just didn't know how to get there. And maybe one of my goals in this thing is to kind of like be your Sherpa, be your guide into this space of love, light, and levity. And I feel that. I just feel magnificent, ebullient, filled with effervescent enlightenment. Not all the time, but mostly. And it's more than it ever was. Which gets me to Lotus, the cult leader. In this place that I am now, I'm learning something that I went to her Facebook page. I was always blocked, but I found another way in. And I posted stuff that, I'm thinking, her followers are not going to like this. And sure enough, a follower of hers who used to be my fan, actually, she came to my page and said these really nasty things. Some other people said some things, and she went in there as their victim. She went as a victim into that page. Didn't think I would see it. Your ex-husband attacked me and had other people attack me. It's her perspective and her perception. I get it. And all I got from this post was, wow, what a sad, sad, angry woman who's saying to me that I'm angry. That's what I pick up. And I started to go at it a little bit with her. Just let it go. But she blocked me anyway. As soon as I said something, she said, get out of here. No one wants to hear from you. This is what she says. Because my ex hadn't seen it yet because it wasn't erased yet. Now it's down and out. But what I said was, she has all these vanity posts. She literally just posts, here's some things about me you might want to know. She's following her leader. This is what her leader does. Or leader just talks about herself. Every single fart that she's had. I mean, this is what they do. It doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any business. It doesn't do anything except for just feed some ego. And I filed for divorce for my ego years ago. And wow, does it feel better. Of course it enters into the equation. Of course, some ego pops in right and left, but it's not for you to judge that with me, and it's not for me to judge that with you either, or the hypocrisies or whatever it is. This is not up for me to do that. It's up for me to judge that in myself. So I got in there and I said, would a woman who, she said something about feeling attacked. What do you do when you're attacked? And she has all these lists, which was so funny. That the one thing that wasn't on the list, would you run away? One thing that was not on the list is be honest. That's what I always ask of her, be honest. But she's choosing, just like her leader, they choose what people see. And it's all not what the whole truth is, that's for sure. You're not going to see the uglies from either one of them. They might do one to get somebody to go, me too, or whatever it is. That's all they're about is me too. I don't mean the me too, the hashtag. I mean, me too. Oh, that's exactly how I feel. I mean, it's unbelievable. And it becomes another cult. These Facebook groups or the followers, they just become another cult. There's no one questioning her if this is true, what she's posting. It's all about vanity. It's all about praise. And I thought to myself, wow, you had a husband who praised you every day. Every day I said, you're the greatest woman I ever met. That's what you had. And all of their solutions have to do with some perception that they have that they really take on, and that's as the truth. This is the truth about men. This is the truth about sex. This is the truth in this. And I'm going to pound it into you. I'm going to pound it. I'm going to keep saying it until I actually believe it. It doesn't make it true. It doesn't make it scalable. It doesn't make it something that's ever worked in even life. They're just theories and concepts, and that's what they bring. That's what I see anyway. I have never seen this work, but I've also never seen it work my approach of pointing things out. My approach of pointing out hypocrisies. What I said was, what about no violence? What about no? I said all these answers. I filled up the wall. It's all taken down now on Lotus's wall. But it was kind of fun. It was kind of fun to. That was one approach. So here's what I have to say to anyone who's in a situation. It doesn't have to be this understanding I have about this podcast. It's just not just about a cult. Which people even question, is that a cult that she follows this woman? I believe yes, and I believe it has all the qualities of it, so you can believe whatever you want. And you could also think that it's an attack. I don't believe it's an attack because it really does come for love of my children mostly. That's the core of everything. Don't feel sorry for my children. They have their own path. I'm trying to prevent them from being any more hurt on that path. As a matter of fact, when I had my beautiful enlightenment yesterday, I turned to them, I came back, and I said, I love your mother, I love you, and you can go to Japan with her. And they were beautifully lit up. Of course, I'm afraid of letting her go out of the country. Of course, it still exists. That fear still exists. I've seen what Lori Vallow did to her children. I've seen documentary after documentary about what happens to people when they get in the cults. Jim Jones is a famous, drank the Kool-Aid and all. They still, the expression, did you drink the Kool-Aid? It still exists. It's people that follow to the point of they give their lives. How do I know that's not the case here? And do I want my children to have their lives taken because someone is in such denial and is so wrapped up in empowering someone else? Of course I don't. So for anyone that does think it's fear, I'm not fear. Well, it's definitely fear. Anyone that thinks it's anger or resentment or rage or wanting her back or anything like that, okay. Take a breath. Check out a drone view. Look from above. Look at this guy dedicated to his family. Doesn't make them dedicated back. Love my family with everything I have. Doesn't mean they'll love me back. Sacrifice everything I have. Doesn't mean they'll do it back. Generous beyond measure. Doesn't mean they'll be generous back or even thank. This I have found to be my experience with other children in my family as well. And definitely my ex-wife. A lot of taking. And I have to work that out in my soul and how I do that. My ego wants them to thank me. My ego wants to be praised the same way I'm making fun of her for wanting to be praised on these Facebook posts. We all recognize ourselves in one another. We hold up our mirror to one another. I was just dating someone and I said something about a mirror. We could do that for each other because that's what I proposed. I think it's a wonderful thing. And she said, no, that's not for me. So it's not for everybody. Not for everybody. I enjoy having a mirror. I enjoy putting the mirror on myself, and that's what I'm doing here. This isn't about blame. This isn't about just blame. It's concern. It's fears. You're just going to hear it all. But also solutions, and my solution yesterday is this. I watched the kids feel released, and it happened several weeks ago when I let them go out of state. First it was the state. Now it's like, go anywhere in the country. I'm going to tell mommy. You can go anywhere. I'm just going to have to trust God. So that's what it's come down to for me is I just got in this place, this absolute energy of God that's so powerful, more powerful than the cult leader. Now, do I wish that Lotus stuck with that in our marriage? Of course, but I didn't stick with it. So I can understand how trust is not built if I don't stick with my own values. If I stop doing the practices that keep me there, which has me there today, by the way, then look what happens. I become the phony. I'm preaching this, but if I don't practice it, practice what you preach, as they say. So yesterday, I practiced. I practiced to a point of, I always say repetition causes intuition. My intuition started to speak to me. For the last over 24 hours now, I'm watching shifts take place. Even in my children, everything became looser. We did breathing exercises when they woke up today. And I took them before I took them to school, they're cranky in the morning and they won't eat and all that. And I said, raise your hands in the air. Let's do I do ha exercise. Ha, 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 ha. And I got a little crack a laugh out of them. And that's the way to start the day. That's the way to live the day, is really do live in that natural, organic place that I call love and I call God. So here's the tip that has never worked, But by the way, the love thing, I think I've explained this before, is when I make amends, that's pure love. That's pure accountability. That's the only place it can be. If you're accountable, you can only be in grand love or God, because otherwise your ego is going to talk. You're never going to admit these things. But it works. Does it work all the time? Yeah, it works all the time. Does it work all the time? Like through time? No. No, because I slip. I go back, don't do my practices, don't stay in love, get in resentment, get in fear, all of those things. So I'm manifesting some of these things. And what I'm saying is, if she were to come back to reality, if she were to step away, it ain't going to happen from me saying it. Nothing's going to happen from me pummeling her as she is perceiving it to be pummeling. So when she says he's abusive, I can understand it because I'm pointing these things out. That can feel like abuse. Challenging her, it's abuse. I get it. I hate that word because it's not technically abuse. When you get labeled abusive and then you get in with the abusers, the physical abusers and stuff like that, it sucks. That really sucks being a guy, by the way, because people, I've talked about this before, they ain't going to listen to you. They're not going to listen to the guy, the big guy, especially a big guy like me with a lot of people behind what I say. But there's really love here. I really, really so much love, even for people that might perceive as an enemy. Say, pray for your enemies. Forgive myself first, and then forgive them. So yesterday I wrote to her, I love you, I forgive you, and I said some other things that were basically like a reset. And she said, thank you, I love you, and forgive you too. Good start. Because I'll tell you the other, I've never pressed enter in any of my long-ass emails, which always get me into trouble. I've never pressed enter, and it comes back, Craig, I've never thought of it this way. Thank you for enlightening me. Oh, wow, you are such a wonderful spiritual man. I don't know how I ever would have left you. I'm in complete agreement, Craig. You're right. All of those things that I have done are absolutely wrong, and I apologize. It's not gonna happen. But what can happen is me changing my energy. I'm back to my story about my mom. So my mom didn't speak. We didn't speak for 5 years or so. And I was really, really in it, how wrong she was. And one day, it was a true shift. You hear about these things, but you don't really believe them, or you don't really think it can happen for you. I don't think it could happen for me. These conversations in my head are going to continue. Defending myself, my mom should love me, whatever it was. And it really happened to the point where there is nothing my mother could say to me that is going to hurt me or affect me. Nothing. Because all I do, we had a conversation today, we talked, and that was pretty upper level too, for pretty deep for mom, because she's very set in her ways, blah, blah, blah. But I'm okay with her being set in her ways. That's the thing, is complete acceptance. Okay, this is the way. I'm not going to change her. Talking politics, whatever it is, it's not going to change her. So why bother? Same with my ex-wife. So if she is to break free from this woman that's got her, I'm about to show you some, or describe some. She took another dip, a big dip into a very, very dark pool. I'm not happy about it, to tell you the truth. It really upset me. I might have told you before or read the posts from Broke when they were in Australia together, and she started bragging about her one-night stand and sneaking out of the hotel. Meanwhile, my wife at the time was on that trip. It was a trip for more multi-level marketing. Let's go celebrate our womanhood and all this kind of stuff. I get it, ladies. I get it. I just ask you, just watch it. Just watch what happened with this woman, happened with my ex-wife. You're emasculating a man. who stepped up and became your husband. You're emasculating a man who is the father of your children. You're taking down a man who is there and supportive and loving, all because you have a selfish need to not only go outside the marriage for sex, I get that, but to brag about it and boast about it and try to get others to follow you. I don't know. I'll leave that up to the listener. What do you think? And that's what she did. And I remember Lotus when she came back from Australia. I said, oh, where's Broke? Oh, she stayed. She had to go find herself. And she starts with the posts about, I had a sexless marriage and all this kind of stuff. And you don't have to either. Just keep it to yourself. Not you don't have to either. And you can break free, mamas. And all of this starts, this rhetoric starts. I'm like, uh-oh. That's where it started. That's where I saw, whoa. She's taking all of this in. She is captured by it, in love with this woman. But never could I ever have predicted this. Never could I have predicted this would happen. Sorry, I'm trying to find the posts that they've had recently that I'll read to you. They took another step together. She calls her soul sister. All this terminology. I'll read this to you. I'd like to actually read some of the feedback I'm getting here. Your podcast is blowing my mind. I don't understand women that do this. So much to be thankful for, and walk away from that. Yeah, it's true. But I'm just getting, here's another one that says, I wanted to drop a note and say how sorry I am about Lotus. I have been watching her social from the sidelines and looked into some stuff she was promoting. Yeah, I didn't have a great feeling about it. And so much of the new age is now darkness in disguise. I couldn't have said that any better. I've left it all behind myself. I love your resilience and using your massive gift to help others. Anyway, take care and keep laughing. I guess that sums up everything. Not to feed my ego, to let you know that that's a lot of this is about that. So maybe you can have your take be that, instead of maybe this guy is, he's got an agenda, get over yourself, get to the healing already. I had somebody say that, and then there's these people that it's connecting with. And there's so much of this feedback. I appreciate it. Thank you for your feedback. Thank you for taking the time and gifting me with that. So I know that somebody's hearing this and really getting the message that's out there. I'm really about being of service and helping people. So maybe you might be in some sort of a situation that's so frustrating. Dealing with mental illness is just one of the worst things. And I do believe, and not in a condescending way, that this is mental illness. It's people that can make someone a guru and hand their power over. Here's one of their episodes. So now they're doing a podcast together. And by the way, she lied and said, oh, she's just a friend. She would always say just a friend, all during the marriage, and say, hey, I think you're getting conned here. She already brought you into that other cult with Raven. And Raven ended up suing everybody, including Broke and her husband at the time. Yeah, you're in a cult, so you're vulnerable to be in a cult. You're in one now. She admitted that was one. That was at least $80,000 out of my pocket. I had a lawyer once, by the way, if I would express this, if I'd say, this is unbelievable, this is not fair. He goes, you sound like a misogynist. And that's what sucks in our society. Yeah, I got mad for a second there. That's what sucks in our society is you try to express yourself as a man and you get labeled so fast, angry, bitter, mean-spirited, cheater, whatever it is. Men are pigs. Literally, we're called pigs. I'm trying to express my feelings as well. And women ask for a vulnerable man who expresses their feelings. And I've cried in front of women. I hardly ever cry because I was demeaned and diminished for doing that. You pussy. Like, I bought some goods here. So anyway, Australia thing happens. I said, hey, what's with that? vows of marriage and all that kind of stuff. And again, I'm not judging the cheating part. We can all talk about that. It's a whole other topic. But it's the announcing it to others. And what I said to her at the time, I go, you know, Lotus, her real name, I didn't say, you know, I said, you know, those children, those young children, this is going to get back to them. This is about their father, who basically she's saying is inadequate in bed, and I'm not going to work on it anymore. I'm going to go find it somewhere else. He's inadequate as a man. He's inadequate. One of the worst things you can say to a man. That's what Lotus did with me. You're inadequate. You're not a real man. I'm going to move into another room is what she did. I'm going to cut you off. Now, when I need you, I'll return to the room. When I don't, though, I'm not. I'm going to keep going to this woman who's going to keep on feeding me information on what I could have out there. And that's what she did. So she's saying this, and I said, Lotus, this isn't cool. It's going to get better. She goes, oh, no, it won't. Her children aren't on social media. That's what she said. Which that's probably what is behind what I'm about to show you and announce to you here, that she's now what she's doing. And when I wrote to her a few times, once from this nice space of kindness and love and forgiveness, and this is what I really want to be, and I'm going to commit to it. And the other was like, what the hell are you doing? Or admonishing. Won't get me anywhere, but anyway, just telling you where I'm coming from, honestly. So they now have a podcast about sex, but not only about sex. This is what one of them says. Join us as we unravel the mysteries of BDSM. Does everybody know what BDSM is? Not many people do. It means bondage, dominance, sadomasochism. I believe that's what it means. And I've seen Broke posing with whips and all sorts of riding crops and leatherware and all this kind of stuff, showing everybody how great she looks at her age and how she's got her freedom and everything else. Why does everyone have to know your sex life? What's the agenda here? Why is your perspective the way we should go? And come on, mamas, get your freedom, and you can have this too. This illusion that I'm putting forth there. Pictures in bathing suits, pictures in scantily clad that my son said she looks like she's on OnlyFans, a 50-some-year-old woman. This is what she's compelled to do to lure people in. It's a lure. It's a thirst trap, as they say. And my wife got trapped to the point where she would defend this. I'd say, it'll get back. She'd say, oh, no, well, oh, yes, it will. Because any parent that sees this, I remember even when I was a kid, my mom was the only divorcee around. Good-looking mom, good-looking woman. My friends wanted to date her, my mom. And my mom, dressed like a single woman who wants to meet somebody, and there's these school marm mothers in the neighborhood that get pissed off at their husband is flirting with her or looking at her over the hedges or whatever it is. So I was on the other side of that, calling my mother a whore or whatever it is. That's without the internet. The gossip that happens. She had a man over, whatever it is. I don't know. I recall the shame and the bullying and I'd be in fist fights over the things that they said about my mom. So I can't imagine, once this leaks out, what my children will be subjected to. And these women operate in it's with such selfishness. What in the world are you posting this stuff for? What in the world? I can tell you why I post. I post because I want to entertain you. I'll make you laugh. I want to inspire you. I want to make you think, whatever it is. But it's not to come join me in my, here's what they say. What is BDSM? How can it serve as a path to profound healing and connection? We challenge misconceptions that come from the deception BDSM is a harmful way and explore how consensual kink can empower and rejuvenate, not just relationships, but our inner selves. Discover with us as we discuss the transformative power of embracing pain as pleasure and finding deep presence through intimate exploration. For more conversations about sexual awakening, open and healing, join our Facebook group. So they have a Facebook group. They have witchcraft is hashtagged and something else. Anyway, this is what they have an episode, Healing Through Pleasure, Exploring BDSM for Deeper Connection. So here's the thing that I would propose to anyone who leaves their marriage and goes this direction. What I would say to both of these women: why would you not explore this within the context of your marriage? Why quit before the miracle? Why not those hours that you're putting, colluding with one another, you go girls and all of that? Why not put that into the man that married you and prayed with you to have children with you in divine order? Why would you step away from that and put your concentration into something on the outside? This illusion that, oh, it's let me dispel the myths and all that kind of stuff. How do you know? How do you know that it works? So it works temporarily? Who the hell doesn't have temporary fixes? So you want to share your temporary fixes. It's not long-term because it's all new. Have you ever seen anyone? Where's the results of that? I want to see data. I've seen data on people that immerse themselves in a God relationship. I have seen it happen. I've watched couples be together for years upon years and still love one another. And that's what I wished for in that marriage. We brought in 2 children, and I will be honest with you, we literally prayed for both children, both born in our house. Not the way Philly guy would have done it, but I'm glad that I did. Flooded the place on Jackson, our son. Oops, I said his name. Flooded the place. I had to pull him out, help not the doula, the midwife, the birth, whatever. I'm blanking on what she's called. But anyway, I studied and all that. All goes out the window, by the way. That's to make a man feel important. Breathe, breathe. I remember going, get away from me. You're annoying me. I go, this is what I was taught. I think I'm just saying this for the first time. That's kind of symbolic for our relationship. Is I've been taught these things that you're supposed to do to be a feminine man, to be a part of the animas, to be a part of this feminine world that we live in. Get away from the macho guys, which I never liked, the machismo. I never really dug that. But now I'm getting some things. I'm really getting some messaging that just might want to go back in time to things when things actually worked, when people stayed together. They didn't have all these options to get out. And the option of a cult. So you bring these children to the world with a vow and a promise, we are going to raise you. And in an instant, because someone came along and offered you something that was an alternative to this maybe boring life, maybe loveless, maybe she fell out of love. Why not work on, with your partner, getting more love into your life? More God, more divineness, more light, whatever you want to call it, more potency, more togetherness, more force, like a Jedi Master. They work it, the Jedi Masters, to become a master. Work on that. And then what will manifest, what will happen is, guaranteed, you have a beautiful life that you've mastered. But you do it together. There's no opportunity for that because she went the way of a woman who influenced her. They call them influencers for a reason. They can influence, and they're really, really good at it. They're really, really experts at this, at bringing people in to follow them, the Pied Pipers. Follow them into Here's what she says. How does a woman live in her femininity in this post-feminist world? Is it? Or is that your conclusion? There's a lot of conclusions here, but misconceptions about BDSM. Well, what if it's not a misconception? What if it's a conception that someone else has experienced, that they experienced that it led to nowhere? What if that's their, what if that was their experience? Are you going to deny that? People went that way and they went, oh, there's not much love here. I'm not feeling love. I'm just being beaten here. And then it turns into beating, it turns into death, whatever it is. And here's what I'm trying to get across to her. We have a daughter. I don't want to be sexist about it, but I am more concerned about her daughter. What if your daughter, who starts to sexualize, she's 10 years old, what if this is her go-to? Instead of love, which she watched her parents, her mom, fall out of love and get rid of love and just say, I'm going to blow this whole thing up, instead of going more into the love, just quit. So in your future, my little darlings, so I wrote to her with love, my ex, in this better space. I said, what are we teaching them? What are we teaching them through this? And she says, oh, God, she loves to say this load broke. She's unschooling mom and 7-figure earner. And Lotus, breathwork facilitator, discuss embodying the feminine to live an abundant life from a bold, unconventional, polarized, and spiritual point of view. Unfiltered feminine is women who want to experience more freedom in their lives in all ways. Guess what? You're promoting something that's a lie. I know through experience, broke, that Lotus had all the freedom in the world. It's her choice not to call it that. It's your choice not to call it that. It's your choice not to take the road of freedom that is right there before you, to take the road of integrity, to take the road of honesty, to take the road of grand love. More prayer, more connection. That wasn't on the list. All this stuff is all on the list to deflect away from what you both did. You both broke up your family because you believed in your ego. That's my belief. I always try to share from my first person experience and not give an opinion, but it seems to me that that would be something they could explore instead of just telling people how to live. They have a special Q&A episode. Who are we questioning? What's your track record? I can tell you this much, and I try to say this on our page. Lotus's track record in business is absolutely abysmal. That's the truth. It's not an opinion. She's failed at every single business. She's quit every single business, and she quit her marriage. So is that what you want to teach the kids? Do you want to teach the kids to not have divine love and sex and everything else? Do you want to teach them to just go get your pleasure in pain and kink, as you say? Is that what you would like for the kids? That's the question I asked her. Very gently, and trying not to admonish. And I didn't admonish. I was saying, I'm concerned that this is the direction you're taking. This is another step away from what I would deem to be good for a family, is to set an example where you can work things through, where you can really have the courage to go into that owl space, into that pain spot. She's going to a pain spot by having a guy beat her. Which, funny enough, by the way, her accusations of me were that, having me arrested, when actually she was the one beating me. She turns that around, supposedly afraid, goes get safe houses. I just ran into a guy. Oh, I have to share this story. So I ran into the guy. I probably described it before. She had this text exchange with this guy, this father, divorced father, she's best friends with his ex-wife. And she's got this, he's calling her babe. Oh, I got you, babe. And I never liked Greg. And, all this. I couldn't believe what I was reading. What the hell? We were married at the time. I said, this is an affair. It's an emotional affair. Oh, no, it's not. I said, he's helping you find a safe. What do you say? Well, no, I don't need it. It's just lying right to my face. She was planning these escapes constantly, as if she was some paranoid person who was being beaten, what she was being beaten with is the truth. The truth is, I'd say, hey, can you stop following broke so much and maybe come back to your family? Can you go on a date with me? Can you give me the honor of telling me where the money's going? Can you talk to me about your business plan? Can you pray with me? Can you go to any spiritual center with me, church, whatever it is, synagogue? I don't care. Can you do those things? No is the answer. So she turned it around using society's opinion on men. This is what my opinion is. Opinion on men is men have been the beaters for all these years. Men are the bad guys. She used it just like my other ex used it. Oh, she knows. She knows this is going to be the bad guy. I'm going to portray it like that, and you're going to believe me with all the passion I have. You're going to believe me, and they do. There are some people that do. It's so sad. So sad to be on the other side of that. False allegations. Ugh, the worst. But I have to forgive and stay in a love position. Grand love, unconditional love. I can't have my love conditioned upon what she's doing here and attacking or whatever you want to call it. I can't base it on that. I still have to come from that. And by the way, less will happen anyway if I do stay there. If I respond, there's going to be more angst, more conflict. So she's got this thing going, and he got her a safe house. Oh, I got you, babe. I'll find you. And she found this safe house, and she just lied her ass off. The level of conniving that I have found, this is where I'm always in fear of being the sexist, the misogynist. Listen to these words. I am not. I am not. And if I say something that goes, maybe bothers you, if you're a female woman, look deeper. Trust me when I tell you, it's not come from a place of hate or anger. As a matter of fact, I love my mother beyond, like big time. Can't wait to talk to my mom. She still says jerky things, whatever, judges me, all that stuff. It doesn't matter. That's what I want to be with everybody. But in this case, there has to be an awareness first for recovery. There has to be an awareness. So one of my goals with this is also maybe someone else can make her aware from a different perspective. I get all these notes from her, but nobody's bringing them to her. Maybe somebody will someday and say how ridiculous. They're telling me how ridiculous she is, how absolutely absurd this all is. There's no, and me pointing out this is not going to do any good. What does this one say? Ladies, they just love each other. They just love to hear themselves talk about how great they are and how happy they are. And I want to know something. When you make love with your husband, bringing women, a girl or boy into the world, whatever, are you not giddy? Can you embrace that giddiness? When that child's born, can you look back to that time and say, I brought this child into the world with this man? Can you work on that respect? Can you look deeper and deeper into his soul? Think to yourself, you connected with that soul, and you had a soul crossing and a soul healing, and you brought these people into the world only to abandon the entire thing. The entire idea of a family, you chose this cult activity that's on, it's something different all the time. This is the latest. Oh, here we go. Here's some, she has to boast in all these things. In this episode, Broke discloses how she went from not knowing that women can have multiple orgasms to ending up having 23 orgasms on New Year's Eve on the beach with some other random guy. She doesn't say that part. I happen to know that. Okay. You had 23 orgasms. You don't think you could have that with your husband while keeping your family together? I know that my ex, during this time, she feared me. We got divorced. One day, and I again, by the way, this was also from I was giving a lot of love and a lot of like feedback where I was hearing her and stuff like that. And guess what? It worked. I probably screwed it up by going back to my fear. Yeah, I did. She says, come be with me. And I said, hey, kids, I'll be right back. So for anyone that thinks that she's really afraid, this kind of spells it out, or she wasn't getting orgasms. She had me come down when we're divorced and make love to her. I remember her crying. I didn't know what the tears were. Sometimes I didn't know what they were. I have compassion or whatever it is. And I think she was basically, I think she might have said something like, please don't fall in love with me, you know, because she just doesn't, but she had multiple orgasms, a wonderful time when she let go. She let go of Broke for that one night. And then she goes back to Broke, and Broke convinces her, oh, no, dear sister. No, my soul sister. No, you come with me. You come with me. And now she follows the patterns of bragging about her life, talking about things. It's like, what's your purpose in doing this? I don't get it. She said, did you know that there are many areas of the body that we can bring pleasure to us and have orgasms from? The clitoral orgasm is just the appetizer to all the array of orgasms. You'll learn how to lean into the resistance rather than shying away from something that can dramatically change your life. You know what can change your life? You're talking about going in and the resistance? Broke. How about the resistance you have from the love of your husband and your children? How about that resistance? And the same goes for Lotus. It's a resistance. What did you do with it? You abandoned, you left, argued, just did anything you could do to go out. So as long as you're pontificating, have you explored that? And the other thing they do, both of them do, if anybody goes against them, they have a tantrum, block, annihilate, bully. It's amazing to me that men get labeled bullies, and I have never been bullied. And I was bullied when I was a kid. I was beaten up to a pulp. I can name the names, and they were vicious. And I will tell you, none compares to Lotus, this flower child. None compares to the bullying that she does and the control and the manipulation. Nothing compares, because that is an emotional thing. Scars from a beating on the outside go away within days. What she did with emotional abuse, not alchemy, is lasting to this moment, maybe forever. The same goes for the children. It's generational trauma. And my whole thing is like, you can do better. You can do better than following this con artist. We can manifest from having orgasms. We can release trauma, is what she says. Trauma through having orgasms. Yeah, you can release trauma other ways as well. Or you can release trauma having orgasms with the man you love or the woman you love. You can. I know this because it was true. We had that for many years. It's what brought these children. And by the way, I can emphasize this more and more. I'll just tell you again. People are concerned about the children. So far, they are absolutely so beautiful. You know, I have to think that they were brought in that energy, in that light. Mommy wasn't always this way. I don't think she had any tantrums before that. Now she has tantrums, you know, literally. I could walk up with, I've done with peace signs, prayer, you know, whatever it is, tantrum. She does this face that is so disassociated, so angry, so filled with rage, this misplaced rage for this man who's coming to her in love. It'll get better, though, because I'm going to up the love. What do they say? Here's another one. Feeling stuck in a rut with your marital sex life? Here's your answer. They should say, here's your answer. Leave, cheat, steal, lie, become violent. That's what they should say if they were telling the truth. It's time to reignite the spark. In this episode, we share 6 easy, playful, and practical tips to transfer dull, routine sex into vibrant and exciting connection. Hey, Broke, happen to know your ex-husband, a wonderful man, dedicated family man, kind man, smart man, creative man. I'm sure he would have loved to have reignited with you within the construct of your marriage. And I know, Lotus, that's the case here. But neither one of you had the courage to go past. It's difficult. You might be afraid of bruising the man's ego. It's better than running. It's better than leaving the man going, what in the world just happened? What did I do wrong? And taking that shame on. It's better than calling men pigs. It's better than calling men assholes or whatever we're called. They talk about more conversations about sexual awakening, opening, healing in relationships. Well, I would love to know if you're sharing with people, giving advice, where is it coming from? It's like a therapist that needs the therapy. You have no record. There's no record of this. So Lotus probably, she has a boyfriend, right? Lives in another state. Is this what she's experiencing? Grand love, the kids. She has kids, most of the time. I mean, really. So once in a while, he's, I guess, dominating her or whatever he is, whatever the sex that's going on with this guy. I feel bad for him because he's getting snowed as well. She can't be herself. As long as she's in this same space, she cannot be the one that I married. She says, every time we point the finger and blame, we have three fingers pointing back at us. So where'd you get that? In some book? No kidding. Broke talks about how we can open our hearts and share our feelings without blame and judgment. That's exactly what you've done with your ex-husband now. When you came back, when you were Australia, when you had your one-night stand, Broke, that's exactly what you did. You blamed him. A sexless marriage means that you're not having sex with that. It's your choice. It's your choice because you're blaming. You're not blaming yourself. Same with Lotus. Not blaming herself. Never does. That's my experience. Literally never does. It's always about even falling out of love. And people talk about self-love all the time. That's another new age concept. What does that mean? You're masturbating more? What does it mean? You're getting more massages? What does that mean? Self-love. Self-love would be really, really embracing the highest power, the highest source that's in you. And that source would not guide you to blowing up a family, to humiliating your man, to emasculating your man. There's so much emasculation that's going on out there. I implore people, let's take a step back. Let's not just blame the man and historical men, the patriarchs and all. Yeah, I get it. I was that way. I was a feminist. I get it. I'm starting to get the other side, though, not in a bitter way, but of discovery of an awakening. There's an awakening that's going on here. I hope that's what you're picking up as well. And this awakening will help this relationship that we have. We are co-parenting. We have 50-50 custody. We do pretty well, by the way. That's the one thing she does much better than the other ex. The other ex was like doing anything in her power to make sure I was an evil man, and the kids understood that, and she's going to get every hour she can, tried to get them to move to Rhode Island with her. I mean, it was horrible, the steps that she took. And those kids are really, really ruined from it. They have a bitterness and anger in them. It's just, it's horrible to observe, especially as a man who's an empath like me. I mean, I really feel it. And then I feel their hate towards me. And it was co-created. Of course, I have something to do with it. Of course, I get, bossy or whatever, but it's not abusive. It's not the things that she labeled. It's none of those things that she just made things up. So here again, she says, we challenge misconceptions that come from the depiction BDSM in a harmful way and explore how consensual kink can empower and rejuvenate. So how do you know? Where's the data on this? This is a person that admits she has no education, but she's coaching and leading people. I was told, by the way, as a matter of fact, I'm going to put this out there. If you know of someone, an attorney that would take on a lawsuit, I would love to sue Broke. I heard of a guy that millions of dollars because he went after the cult leader. There probably should be legal funds to help people get people out of cults. I had a guest on already, Adam, my friend, and I'm gonna have him on again. I called Catherine Oxenberg, whose daughter was part of the Nexium cult and part of the Vow. I'm making some calls to get people on who suffer the consequences of someone that just loses themselves and gives it over to someone else, and that's what has happened here. And now it's BDSM. I don't know what profit comes out of it by having other people join you. Do you want people to join you in multiple sex, group sex, polyamorous? I don't know. I don't have judgment for polyamorous people. I don't have judgment on even BDSM. I don't have judgment on it. I do, however, have feelings about what it feels like to be shamed by children, my peers, and what my children might feel when people find out about this. I have people angry at me for doing the podcast, and they think that's a bad thing. So be it. So be it. I'm here to stand for my children, our children. Never like when people use the word my. And they're not ours anyway. We're just here to be the custodians. And I like to keep doing that, and I am going to commit to, you're hearing it now, I'm committing to really big time love. Now you'll hear slips away, you'll hear my little sarcasm, which I do, very good at that. But let's stay with the energy of healing, solution, unity, togetherness, compassion, empathy. I have compassion for my ex-wife. I have empathy for my ex-wife. I could go there. Who am I to say? You could go there. Who are you to say? We all can. Because if somebody is that good, I'm conned all the time. I mean, it's happened a lot. People I've hired. That's just, the staff is a revolving door. I have one person who's been with me for like 4 years. She's amazing. But some other people are hiding, usually, I believe. They're hiding, stealing, whatever it is. Honesty is an offense to people. Honesty is really something that people freak out over. Being exposed. I'm here to tell you, I'm brave enough to keep going. I'm brave enough to expose. I went to the Facebook page. I said many things in response to her posts. Look at me. Oh, my God. There's my sarcasm. I don't get what the plan is. Here's me swimming. Have you ever been swimming? Have you ever danced? And it's just a vanity light all the time. It's not who I connected with in marriage. It's just not. Connected with someone who is really, really connected. I believed, could be wrong, I believed to her highest source. My doggy's here. This is another example of love. Here's a Buffy. Such a sweetheart. She's like me. She's like mostly pit bull. So people see this big guy coming at him and they go, he's got all the answers and he's a bully and he's like, oh my God, he's had privilege. He's white privilege. He's a white male. And it's like a lot of opinions happen with that. This pig, this misogynist, this sexist. Have you said any of those words? Think about it, have you? Here she is with me. Oh my God, if you're watching on screen, she might even pop up on the screen. She's got both her paws up on me. We rescued her exactly a year ago. She was the last in the kennel. She was there the longest and was about to be exterminated, euthanized. she jumped into our laps. And I just actually this past Friday, I ran into the woman who runs the kennel. She said she had never seen this dog do that with anyone else. She was meant to be with us. And one of the reasons she was meant to be with us is the discoveries that I've had. At first, it did not go my way. She got into my vitamins, and she looked like the last scene of Scarface, covered with powder, my protein powder. Say hello to me, little friend. Scarface. I mean, she freaks out at animals like dogs. Her hair goes up. Here we go. And I had this guy training me to get the choke collar, the electric collar. And in one day, just like is happening now, what if you're just gentle and loving with her? Again, I hope I'm not repeating myself from another episode. I feel like I might, but anyway, this is just where I am right now. She's sitting right here with me. Excuse me. What if, that's how I raise my kids, what if I give them everything I longed for? I longed for a father. I longed for love. I longed for attention. I longed for being listened to. I longed to be heard. I longed to be seen. I think actually that's what's going on with Lotus. She has these longings, but she's afraid to have the intimacy. This is my theory now. The intimacy of a man who actually did love her. Unconditionally, big time. Everything that a woman, I've always heard once. I think I bought a bill of goods with some of this stuff, but woman with a sense of humor, I've heard that before. I'm a comedian, I think I'd be the stud of the year. Comedian of the year, American Comedy Awards. I'm one of the biggest comedians ever. Like, I was really made it to big, very funny guy, obviously, very funny, very high level at comedy, but they're not in the front row throwing panties at me. So, sexiest man alive has never been Carrot Top or the Wayans brothers. It's always some guy with big nice cheekbones and everything. So this dog, I learned patience. I learned compassion. I learned to see her. I learned to feel her needs. And there's a transformation that took place just today. Ran across 2 King Charles Cavaliers, which we used to have. And this woman was nice enough to let them be close to this dog, as other people are scared of her because she's a lot of pit bull in her. And it's just so beautiful to be a part of a transformation, a positive personal journey that has led to this enlightenment that is pure. It's real. I remember yesterday when I had this big thing happen, I was just, oh my, this is real. It's lasting too. It lasted in the shower. That's always no. I talk to myself in the shower. That's where I do all my defending. Here's what you're going to say to her. No, not this time. Here's what I'm going to say on the podcast. I'm going to get it out. No, not this time. This time, I hope that you're getting the message that we all need to up the love. We need to raise it up. And the other voice I was talking about earlier, my mom voice of fear, you can't do that. I'm surprised I made it even this far in life if I had that voice running me, because it's filled with fear and judgment and all that kind of stuff. Keep me down. Don't expose yourself. No. No, that voice, thank you for sharing, but it doesn't serve me. The voice that serves me is this. It's like saying to you that I really believe we should absolutely take love and put it on steroids, whatever you want to call it, juice it up, fill it, fill with love. Not self-love, as people call it, and getting a manicure, pedicure. Yeah, it's great. I'm talking about really God love. And bring that to your partner. Bring that to the world. Bring that. The world doesn't want to hear your opinion on politics. It really doesn't. You might think so. That's your ego. It's your arrogance. I know I've been there. I've been arrogant enough to think that people give a shit what I say about the opposing team, which I don't have an opposition anymore. I'm for positive. I'm for something, not against someone. And I'm for my ex-wife. I am for her. I'm going to love her and forgive her forgive myself as well, continuously. That's my vow. That's my new vow. I had marriage vows, and now I have these vows. And I do it for the children, too. I just watched their faces when I said, you can go to Japan. It was unbelievable. Same when I said, you can go to Seattle, out of state. They don't want to be a part of this. My son said, I said, yeah, so you're not waking up. You're a little depressed the last year. You didn't do well in school. He goes, yeah, it's talks like this. Whew, there was a wake-up call. Whew. Now the talks are, hey, what do you guys want to eat? Isn't life beautiful? Let's do a gratitude list. Son knows along the line, too. It's not like I have the talks every day, but definitely those talks. Because it's not his experience. He's more mature than I am, my son. He reflects back to me, and I watch his energy shift when my energy shifts. I just watch it. He starts to look me in the eye. He's more present. He checks out. Because I'm checked out. I'm checked out of this divine order. I'm checked out of the ethereal and into my own fear and self-loathing and everything else. So that's it. That's all I have to say today. We have guests coming up. Again, this is going to be much more than I have other things to reveal about that I have found out about Lotus and what she's up to. And maybe someday something, I do believe that there's some sort of, I don't like the word demonic. I don't like demons or devil or Beelzebub or darkness. I would go with that. There's a darkness that's in there that I know is not really her. And I know the only way out of that darkness is love and God. I know that. So that's what I'm going to bring. And maybe you will too. Maybe you can have a talk with her if you know her. And show her the light. I'm sure she thinks she's having a good time. You know, they're giggling all the time. I'm always talking about giggling, and it's childish. That's funny because it's childish. The way they conduct themselves is childish. Tantrums, don't get what they want, blocking, anger, rage, blame, all the things they kind of claim that they have breath work that gets over it. Now, it's not true. My experience is so far from truth. My experience is this is someone lost, gave her power over to this cult leader who has done it with other women, by the way. I have other letters to read. And a man reached out to me about his wife. She also left for broke. And ironically, I named her broke because they're all broke. They're emotionally broke. It's really a shame to watch. I'm going to keep standing here. I'm going to keep standing in my courage, in myself, and make these stands for the children so that they have it better. And starting with me, it's got to be better starting here. And I already know from her response, I've seen it before. When I get in these spaces, it's great, and I'd like it to be more consistent. It will be. Who knows what will happen, what will unfold. Same with my other difficult relationships. I can't make it happen either. I can't make the timing happen that I'd like. I'd like it to be immediate. But maybe we'll see this in this discovery with this podcast. It's almost like a journal, it's a personal journal as well. Maybe you can relate to it. Please write to me if you do relate to it, or if you don't. If you have any curiosity is much more important than your opinions. They're usually veiled with something you're not exploring within yourself. I say usually. I pretty much know that. I've seen that become true a lot. This woman on her Facebook that's like, you get out of here. No one wants to hear from you. You're sick. You're angry. It's the angriest language I've ever seen, right? He's coming at me. He's like, okay, projection. That's not how the song goes, but projection. Anyway, put the projector on ourselves. Let's do that. Let's make the world a better place. It's a lot of what this is about as well. All right. Please give a review, pass the word around. We haven't even promoted, by the way. Did I mention this? We're like rated now. I can't believe we're rated in India, Canada. Thank you. Shout out. Mumbai, what's up? Calgary, yay. I can't believe it. I've had all these podcasts with these great interviews with Oscar winners and everything else. And who knew that just this simple podcast that's out? Well, maybe it's because the purpose is service. Maybe because the purpose is absolutely beautiful things that will unfold for people naturally and organically. Maybe that's why people are connecting with it. Great. That's where I live. I live and breathe in organic and natural unfolding instead of forcing. Do it now and then, but generally, I like to live like that. Hopefully you do too. Maybe get some tips on life, tips on relationships, whatever it is. Maybe some miracles are about to occur for you. I know some are appearing for me right now. This is a miracle that I'm okay. People say you've been through a lot. I don't know if I've had some really tough stuff in life. Whenever I share about being kidnapped by a pedophile, people freak out. No, I share that because I am on the other side of it. And now I get to share it because other people will feel alone if they don't hear that someone went through and got through. Someone got through divorces. Someone got through false allegations. Someone got through being put in jail on false charges. Someone got through being attacked violently. Someone got through being beaten up. Someone got through being bullied. Someone got through poverty. Someone got through being fatherless. Someone got through it. Yes, got through it, thriving. I encourage you, no matter what, thrive, survive, live your life to the fullest. I love my life. Somebody trying to change me just tonight. You know what you need to do? As if I was saying I need to do something. And I'm not in a good place. This came out of nowhere. What do you mean I need to do that? I'm very happy. Like this direction. That's what I need to do according to the rules. Get back to the future. There are no rules. Is that what he says? Anyway, all right. I love you all. And I love you all. I really do. I'm love and your love. Let's connect that. Write a note, review. If it's a bad review, just shut up. I'll pray for you. All right. See you.